Have you ever whispered to yourself, if they would just come back, everything would be okay again? When your adult child is making heartbreaking decisions or has walked away completely, it can feel like your world is unraveling. The silence is deafening, and then you feel very disrespected at the same time. All of the unanswered questions that you have. But I want to share something with you today that changed my life. You don't have to wait for their return to start returning to yourself. Peace is still possible, even in the middle of their chaos. In this video, I'm walking you through 4 powerful steps to emotional freedom for those of you that are hurting but are ready to heal. I think this topic is so important. I've been talking a lot about it lately because it's really been put on my heart. So let's dive in. Number 1 is letting go of the illusion of control. You notice I said illusion? I used to think I had control over the situation. I used to think that I could protect and guide and rescue. But any of you feeling that way, you know that it doesn't work. When our kids become adults, that wiring often turns into fear-driven control. We think if we can say the right thing, if we can offer just enough help, or maybe better yet, if we keep trying harder, they're going to come around. That particular mindset left me stuck in a cycle of anxiety, false hope, depression. Control is not love. It's fear in disguise. Control is not love. Some of you, like me, I was never trying to control my daughter's life. I was trying to control the situations to keep her safe, right? Because when they're young, that's our job. But some point along the line, right, from birth on up, like we never make that transition, which is why this is so important. And it explains also why it's so hard. And so letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing peace over the panic. It means accepting that their choices are theirs, and so is their journey, and so is their consequences, right? You can still love them without managing them. Whew, what a relief when you don't have to do that. Because one day when your kids come back, if you're someone who's been cut off completely, when they come back, or even when the relationship improves and you start loving them without managing them, it is going to feel like a weight lifted from you. I promise. Your job is to pray, release, and trust God to work in the places that you can't reach. And this is where the peace begins. It begins in surrender, not strategy. Peace begins in surrender. You surrendering your sons and daughters to Him. It's not your strategy on how you're going to change them. That's where we get stuck. And then we get stuck in this cycle and we wonder why nothing ever shifts. We've been talking a lot in my group coaching program lately about surrender. It is so important. Number 2 is we need to honor the grief, because a lot of you are grieving and no one sees it. Because this is a deep, private grief that few people talk about. And until you have experienced it yourself, you probably weren't talking about it either. You didn't just lose contact with your daughter or your son. You lost a connection. Some of you lost a closeness and the future that you dreamed of. You've lost moments, you've lost holidays, you've lost grandkids, conversations that never happened, years of memories that we can't get back. And because it's not a final loss as in death, it often gets dismissed by others. So I want you to know that your grief is real. And what happens is unprocessed grief ends up being bitterness, shame, numbing. That was me. This is why it's important to give yourself space to feel, cry, journal, break down, feel your emotions, but don't stay there. You're not broken because you're grieving. You're healing. Your grief is healing you. Healing takes some honesty. It takes a support system. You can't move forward if you're constantly telling yourself, I shouldn't feel this way. I shouldn't be crying. I shouldn't be angry. It's okay. We just can't stay there. We have to feel it. We have to face it because we live by faith, not by feelings. Step by step, you're going to begin to rise. If these words are stirring something in your heart and you're thinking, I don't want to do this alone anymore, then I want to personally invite you to book a discovery call with me. This is not a coaching session. It is a conversation with you and I. We're going to talk about the story. We're going to talk about the kind of support that might truly help you take that next level of healing. Spots are limited, so please only sign up if you're serious about prioritizing yourself, your well-being. You want to embrace your personal growth and invest in your healing. If that's you, you can click the link in the description or show notes and schedule your call. Number 3 is reclaiming your identity. We talk about this a lot. And the reason I talk about it a lot is because a lot of you are struggling with this. You know, it's easy to forget who you are when your identity has been wrapped up in being a mom for decades. You know, when your child pulls away or they become someone you don't even recognize anymore, you might feel like your whole sense of self goes out the door with them. And that loss of identity is devastating to you, to them, and to the rest of your family and those that love you. Here's the truth though. You were someone before you became a mom, and you are still someone. God did not stop writing your story just because you became a mom. And for you, it's time to rediscover. It's time to rediscover all of those parts of you that get buried under pain, responsibility, life. You know, the woman who used to laugh freely, who used to actually have dreams. I know a lot of you are so creative. I don't have a creative bone in my body when it comes to creativity. I love talking to you guys. So many of you moms that I serve are so creative. You're either artists or musicians, or you just are just beautiful. You have these amazing hobbies. I would love to be able to help you navigate and figure out what yours is again, because we used to have some. So I want you to just start with one small act of self-love for yourself. Go take a walk, go paint, go pray. You know, you're still here and your story isn't over. Your child's story isn't over either. In fact, their testimony is being written right now, and so is yours. And just because we're in the middle, we're in that wilderness feeling, that time period where we don't have answers yet, it's still being written. And lastly, number 4 is building boundaries, because we need to protect your peace. When you are in the middle of heartbreak, your mind, oh my goodness, can become such a battlefield. Do you know what I mean? We overanalyze everything. We take a look at their text to us. We stalk their social media. Most of you who know me well, you know that I used to do that. Do not recommend that. Replaying old arguments or conversations in your head. And what happens is every single time you do that, it drags you deeper into despair, which is what we do not want. But you, my friend, have a choice to make, because you have the power to protect your peace. Healthy boundaries aren't just what you say to other people. It's also about what you allow inside your own thoughts and your spirit. So I want you to start thinking and noticing some of those toxic loops, those what if stories, the guilt. And then I want you to interrupt those with some truth. This thought does not serve my peace. I am allowed to focus on what I can control, which is me. Limit how long you allow yourself to ruminate. Choose peace over chaos. You know, this form of self-respect in a boundary, you are worthy of that protection. And that's exactly what it is. It's protection. It's self-protection. Sometimes, some days, it might even feel like self-preservation. So I want to encourage you in that today. I hope that helped you, and I will see you in the next episode. God bless.